Welcome everyone.
Hello.
Oh, I'm so happy you're all here. Hello.
Welcome to
It's okay. It's okay to make a little noise. You know, we're all just we're all just excited to be
You're
here.
acting suspiciously happy this week, Brother Beard. You seem so
Suspiciously
welcome.
happy.
I mean, usually every week
Well,
you
you
get
know,
mad because everyone's clapping for us. You start yelling.
well, no. I'm not usually mad at them. I usually just want them to be respectful to Gormu, but this week I feel like I don't know, it just feels like all the noise is more of a noise of praise.
That's what it always is every week. That's literally
No,
the
the
point.
other weeks it felt very disrespectful. This week it just, but it's not because I'm in some good mood or anything.
It seems like, why would you even mention that? That's so. I've never heard anyone use that sentence before. It's not like I'm in some good mood or anything.
Well, I'm in a good mood, but I'm not in an abnormally good mood. It's not like
You
I
very
have some
obviously
sort
are.
of
You can't
mood.
stop smiling. Look at you. I've never seen you
I
glow
just
this
have-
way, Brother Beard. I mean,
Thank
listen.
you.
I'm just happy you're happy, but I also need to ask, why are you so happy? Why do you seem
I'm
so
just basking
gleeful?
I'm just basking in the glory of Gormu. I'm just having a great time. I had a great week.
Oh yeah, did you do anything exciting?
Oh, nothing too exciting. I did buy a boat this week.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Me and my friends, we went down to the lake.
You and your-
We got
Who I don't
me
even
and my
know.
buddies.
I didn't know you went to the lake with your friends. This is a new thing. I hear about your week every week, and you're usually like, yeah, I'm working on videos and I'm hanging out with my girlfriend.
Well, yeah.
And now all of a
This-
sudden
this-
you have a boat and friends.
This
in a
week I
lake.
went. This week I went to the lake with my buddies. You know my buddies. You know my Josh, Henry. You know.
No, I specifically don't know that you had buddies named Josh and Henry.
We were gonna invite you. I'm really sorry. We just it must have slipped our minds. We were just so excited to get down to the lake and spread Gormu
Okay.
seed in the water.
Dude. So okay, I need you to back up. I need to cut things straight with you. This weekend, you went on this trip with your friends. You bought a boat. I assume collectively. I hope not on.
No. It wasn't it wasn't a collective thing.
do you-
I bought the boat.
How do you afford a boat?
Things have been going well, Brother Green. I just
well,
bought
with what? Well, with what? With you, specifically, or are you talking about the church? Did you use?
What do you mean?
You didn't use any of the company's money for the. We can't afford a boat, dude. We're
No. Of course, I wouldn't. I wouldn't use the church's funds to buy a boat for
we
myself.
don't have. I mean, you can't use the church's funds to buy a boat. If you did, you're probably going to end up having one less boat next week because we don't have the funds. Hold on, let me look.
What are you looking at?
I'm looking at the American Express app because I gave you a company card, so I can actually
Brother
check your
Green,
purchase.
can we please let's just why are we looking at our finances when we should be giving
It's
a
our
sermon right now?
company
There are
I'm
people who are sitting and waiting. They're waiting to hear from. We can check the company card some other time, Brother Green. Come on.
No, why don't I
People
just
want
look,
to hear the
Let
word.
me just look at the recent
People want-
purchases. It says you spent $120 on human blood.
No.
You can't just say no. It says it right here. So are you saying that someone
Probably
someone
someone
stole-
yeah.
What do you mean
someone must
probably
have
someone
stolen
if
our
someone did
identity?
it, then you
Probably
need
someone
to
hacked it.
cancel the card.
Yeah,
then.
cancel that purchase. Cancel
I can't.
that.
If I cancel the
didn't buy
purchase, we have
human
to
blood.
cancel the whole card because I'm. If you're telling me that you didn't buy human blood, I'm taking away the company card because I have to cancel it, and then it costs money to buy a new one.
Okay, well, if we did that with that, just hypothetically, would that mess up the monthly payments on a boat?
Yes. If you cancel the card, then the monthly payments go away, and also we can't afford monthly payments on a boat, so you're gonna get it taken away.
I'm not saying
anyway.
that there is a boat. I'm saying hypothetically, would that mess up the monthly payments if there were a boat?
Yes. Yes, it would, and also.
Okay, we need
you're
to move.
telling-
Let's move past
We
this.
have people who
All
are
right,
in the inner sanctum in the audience right now. There's people who pay $2 a month on our Patreon to be in the inner sanctum, and now they know that all this money is going towards bull crap boat payments.
All right, I bought a boat. I bought human blood. All right, let's move
Why
on.
did you buy
Let's-
human blood? Can you at
Let's
least tell
move
me
on to
that
the-
part of it? You can't.
Can we please move on to let's move on to the sermon. People are
Okay.
going to get bored. They're going to
Okay,
click off.
fine.
They're going to leave the church.
Let me move on to the next segment. Anyways, we're so happy you guys are here. I'm sorry about, what? Okay, now you have this like happy look on your face, like that didn't just happen. You look so welcoming.
Well,
all of a sudden, like,
I'm still happy that people are here. I'm a bit less happy that you're airing out our financial situation in front of the congregation when we should be preaching to them.
well, okay.
I'm starting to get a little bit angry here, even though you're trying to bring down my joy, bring down my mood. This is what you always do. I'm filled with jubilee, and you're like, oh no, we need to talk about the finances, talk about the fucking. Why are you buying human blood? God,
Oh
move on.
Okay. Listen, the only reason why I'm gonna move on is because we had a really great week, and we have a very great turnout this week. Because last week we had a great showing for Sister Chad last week, who was our first new prophet that we decided to show to everybody, and we had a very great response, very great turnout. So thank you to everybody for the kind words and for enjoying that service.
And Chad could not be here this week, but we did hear that she's probably going to be back next week, possibly.
Who told you that? You can't just say
I don't
you heard
know.
stuff. Who did you hear it from?
I've just heard. I've heard through the grapevine that you should keep coming back every week just in case Chad might be there again.
Okay, I feel like you're just making stuff up. I mean, she doesn't live. We have to fly her out in a private jet, and it's just not good for the environment. But we do it for Gormu.
Oh, we can't afford to fly her out
No,
because
we
I
can
bought a
afford
boat.
it.
Is
It's
that what
the
you're trying to say?
environment part of it, and we're only willing to do I care about the environment, so I'm only willing to send someone out every month or so in the budget. It's first of all, we don't have money. Okay, so
Okay, Chad won't be there next week. I'm sorry, that was a lie. I was just trying to get you to come back.
They're already
I'm sorry,
back.
I'm
She's
being
not
really
here this
sick.
week. A lot of people did
Yeah,
ask
but-
whether or not she'd be a permanent prophet, and you can't have. I mean, a three person service is one is traditional, two's a party, three's good for introducing new prophets, but besides that, it's like we have so many prophets, we can't just we are obviously the main ones.
Yeah, but her presence is still here. Her aura is still kind of circulating about. We can still kind of smell her a little bit. Her odor still is
Why do you say
is
things
sort of
like this? No one enjoys.
I'm
hearing
just saying
things like that.
she's basically still here. If you were here, you
You
could
keep
still
trying to
smell
trick
that she was
people
still
into
here.
saying she's here because you know that you have an insecurity in you, Brother Beard, that you think that people are only here, people only show up and they only praise Gormu because Sister Chad's there. Well, guess what?
Yeah, well, maybe Chad is a lot more famous than us, and she brings in more views.
Why are you
okay?
saying no one said these things? No one's ever saying these things. You're just saying you're arguing
saying
with
these
nobody.
things. I'm just saying that this is a way to bring. We want as many people to be brought to the good word of Gormu as possible. Okay, Chad's not here this week. She won't be back. Well, maybe someday, but.
She won't be back ever, and we won't allow her to either. Anyways, let's just get to the opening prayer. We really have an awesome sermon to get to today. We're going to talk about some real ass stuff. And that Gormu loves when you're a real ass guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that's like his favorite thing. So, Brother Beard, if you're ready, I mean, let's put two fingers up and do the opening prayer to Gormu.
Don't forget not to blink during the opening prayer.
If you're new, two fingers up, don't blink, okay? Oh, sweet. Oh, fuck, I already blinked. My bad. Let me restart. Sorry, everybody in the audience. Stop booing. Stop. Okay? Brother Beard can boo because we're on the same... We've got a same... Okay.
I'm not booing.
Okay.
I'm just focused on Gormu.
No, I'm not
right
talking to you. I'm talking to the audience member. I'm just saying you wouldn't boo me. No, you're the only one who could boo me. Sorry. Okay, he's still got his... Oh, sweet Gormu, thank you for bringing together so many Gormites in the church today. I love how the fellowship has grown. I love how people praise your name, and for all the new people who are confused, I hope you bring wisdom to them and help them understand that that one day they will soon be like us. In Gormu's name, praise be.
Praise be.
Wow, boy, am I revved up and ready for today's service. Brother Beard, why don't you very, very quickly tell people about where they can find us and help support the church?
All right. So, what you are doing right now is you are watching the Fellowship Covenant podcast. If you subscribe to this podcast, you will join the inner sanctum. But if you want to join the higher sanctum, then you need to give us $2 a month on patreon.com/FC podcast. You have to if you want to join the higher sanctum. I'm not saying you have to, but you have to if you want to join the higher sanctum. This is your $2 tithe that you give to Gormu every month to show that you love Gormu and show that you are praising be in his name. You can also join our Twitter community, which is linked below. This is the best place for us to talk throughout the week about how much we love Gormu. We're having all sorts of conversations on there. We're saying, like, talking about...
Come on, pick it up, man.
I don't know. I'm sorry. Follow us on Instagram at Fellowship Covenant. That is our church Instagram page. Follow us on TikTok, Fellowship Covenant Pod on TikTok. We're going to be posting more TikToks on there, trying to spread to the youth. We don't post a lot over there, but we are going to eventually. We got to get to the youth.
Gotta get to the kids.
We got to find them somehow.
The youth is the
Follow
future.
and review us on Spotify. We got to 600 reviews on Spotify already. 600 people reviewed us on Spotify. So if you don't like looking at our faces, which, I don't love looking at my face. If you also don't love looking at my face, listen to us on Spotify or Apple Music, anywhere where you find your podcast. But the most important thing is give us $2. Go to Patreon.
Even explain what that gives them. We do a bonus episode after every episode.
Oh, yes.
We do more confessions and we get real. And there's that is an inner sanctum, and the comments are great. There's a lot of people who are tight-knit Gormites over there, and it's very fun talking after every episode. And
it's very much it's an exclusive group. You should feel left out FOMO. Have you ever heard of fear of missing out, FOMO? You should feel a lot of that, and that should cause you to go and subscribe to that.
If you're gonna say it the whole thing. I went recently.
I'm just explaining what it is. All right, we've talked enough about this. Just know bonus episodes. Go give us $2. That's all we ask of you. Let us move on to the sermon of the week. We are going to preach to you verses straight out of the Gormu Chronicle, which is the book that Gormu reveals to each of us throughout the week. These are verses that came straight from him. No one besides ordained prophets can preach from the Gormu Chronicle, so that is me, Brother Green, and Sister Chad. So, would you like to preach first this week? I'll give you...
let me preach. Also, I want to add, if there's anybody who is new and is a little bit confused, it's not too hard to catch on, okay? We are both prophets of a new religion, and we follow a god named Gormu. We are Gormites. We preach from the Gormu Chronicles. It's very simple. It's not much harder than that. You'll catch on.
It's equally confusing to any other religion. If you act like you're confused, you're not actually. You're just being a little stinky liar.
Yeah. Every time I've ever been in a church, the whole time I'm like, dude, what is going on? In this church, it's so easy. You just get to chill.
Yeah.
Who even cares? All right. Well, I can see out of the corner of my eye the passage in the Gormu Chronicle. So I am going to read it to everybody. Brother Beard actually picked out this verse specifically for me. So let's get going with today's sermon. Today I'm preaching from... Grum 354. Grum was a book that one of my first favorite ones. It's really one of those ones that transitions between two very lore heavy books. And this one's very much more like fun, sort of like kind of looking at the real world and applying, real world experiences into life. I mean, the Gormu Chronicle is sort of, how do I say this? Sort of always evolving, right? So it's a very new religion. And so a lot of the verses we're going to hear are going to be rooted in current events. So let's get going with the verse. Grum 354 says, anyone who cared more about Dream's face reveal than Gormu's bod reveal is a heretic in the eyes of Gormu. Gormu will rain molten seed into the eyes of any non-believer who thinks that skinny is sexier than Gormu. Wow, that is an aggressive verse. Wow, where did you find that verse? Was it in is that a newer one or
Yeah, that's a new one that was just actually added. Grum Grum actually only had 53 verses
in the
in this
third book,
chapter
in the third
until this.
chapter?
Yeah, in the third book. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, yeah. This is a really new and current verse, and I think this is really great for this week because it is a big lesson in in revealing. Dream decided to reveal himself to the whole world, and for him, he had a lot of people who really didn't like that, right? And Gormu,
Mm.
on the other hand, did a face reveal, and barely anyone fucking talked about it because everyone was too busy looking at some other guy. Some guy, his
Yeah.
name's Dream. Guess what? I had a dream.
Mm.
Gormu was in it, and he told me,
Yeah, Gormu Dream.
yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't want to touch on it too much because a lot of you guys probably haven't had your first Gormu dreams. I don't think I know you. I know you've been experimenting with. Yeah, there's people in the audience that show up every week, and I'm like, I can tell. I can tell that you're feeling Gormu in your blood, like when we do.
They're getting close.
Yeah, yeah,
They're getting
and
close.
I really hope we're able to bring a worship service, like bring some music to these services soon, because being able to really feel music is like, whoo, like having that hand up like this and being like, Gormu, like something like
I feel
that.
like you're getting a bit off track.
Sorry, yeah. So back to the sermon though.
Yeah.
There's this part of the verse in Grum 354 that says, Gormu will rain molten seed into the eyes of any non-believer. Now, a non-believer who thinks that, Dream is sexier than Gormu, of course. Now, when it says that he will rain molten seed, Gormu actually doesn't believe in physical direct violence. And so he doesn't actually believe that he would rain molten seed into your eyes. When we talk about seed, Gormu's seed, that is actually us talking about his word, his beliefs, his morals. When we say molten seed, it means putting fiery faith, is what I like to call it personally. Fiery faith into the eyes of non-believers. And so anyone who thinks that Dream, his face reveal is more important than Gormu's, or that, more captivating or more interesting. We might not even have Gormu's whole face, but just the fact that we even saw a photo from a realm that is not of this earth is incredible. And if anyone thinks that they should be focusing on some random guy's face reveal, then we should be raining molten seed into their eyes, which means spreading our word fiery faith into them.
Yeah, I think basically what the passage is implying is if someone is like, "Hey, have you seen the dream face reveal?" Just be like, "Well, look at this," and show them the Gormu picture.
Yeah.
And then I don't think you even need to give context. I just think be like, "Hey, look at this."
Yeah.
And then they'll be like, the seed will burn their eyes and they will become a Gormite right on the spot.
Yeah.
What do you think about? I know in a previous episode we said that there wouldn't be any slurs in the Gormu Chronicle, but it appears that
is this Gormu obviously doesn't think this is a slur, and I don't personally, I don't,
I think that's pretty based on Gormu's part.
Personally, I would have to agree with him. I think we should be calling people more in the Gormu Chronicles. I think we should be throwing left and
Yeah.
right. Next week, maybe I'll bring a verse that has something to do with that. But for now, I actually have a great verse to send you. I know with a lot of religions, it's like, it's like, we have to dig up this like old ass book and blah, blah, blah. Like, this is a new religion. We don't have any, we don't use paper. Paper is like so old. That's like so, I don't want to name any specific religions.
Come on, Brother Green.
That's how I meant to say.
There's a little bit of a slip up there.
They call that a Gormian slip. Sorry, that's my bad. Woo! No, but for real, the only reason why I said that is because people tend to try to make that comparison. I don't specifically hate that, but I used to be, full transparency. I know it's weird to talk about other religions in front of, a whole congregation, but myself and
Mhm.
Brother Beard used to be, and we're not ashamed of it. We're not ashamed of our past. We have a lot of people
No,
in our
we all
life.
have pasts. We
We all
all
have past.
have things that we believed in the past
Yeah,
before we saw the truth.
exactly. And speaking of the truth,
And yeah, if we only put our verses on paper, what if a new thing happened like what happened in Rome, where the whole city burns down and then
yeah,
suddenly the Gormu Chronicle is lost forever. When we put things on the internet,
the cloud,
it lives
the cloud.
lives forever.
Call it,
Put it
yeah,
in the
it's the
cloud.
cloud. You put it in the cloud. Anyways, let me send you your verse.
I'm so excited to preach. All right, this comes from Go 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 Gormu.
No, it's go go
523.
Gormu, not go 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 Gormu.
Okay. Go Go Gormu. I'm so sorry. It's one of those things where I just got so excited
Yeah,
I
you're
started throwing in
go
extra
go
goes.
Gormu.
Go 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 go. No, it's only it's only two goes. Go Go Gormu.
Go go Gormu 523.
Kind of like Go Go Gadget,
No,
from Inspector
no,
Gadget.
no, 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 no.
No, not like that.
Gormu does not take inspiration from a lot of things, really, at all.
All right. Well, I was just trying to help them by giving them a reference. Whatever. All right. So, youch! Gormu said as he stubbed his toe. Gormu got a boo boo.
No, you didn't read it right. You didn't read it right. The last sentence.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Let me start from the beginning.
Start from the beginning
and make
again
sure
for everybody.
I've been fucking this verse up real bad.
Oh, it's fine. You guys are fine with that, right? Give us an applause. Come on, give
No,
Brother Beard an applause. Give him an applause. Come on, guys, give him an applause. Stand up, Brother Beard. Stand up. Guys, clap until he stands up. Clap until he stands up.
All right.
Yeah, get up. Hey, the man of the hour. Woo!
They can't see me. Now I feel like you're making fun of me.
No, I'm not making fun of you. What do you mean they can't see you? This is a vessel for more Gormites, but I mean, I'm preaching to the church, the reason I'm up here, the reason I stand up here and I preach about Gormu is because I can see the eyes of those little Gormites back there. Unfortunately, we don't do child
So
care.
basically you're saying fuck all the people who watch us on the internet.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying I hope that you guys can make
okay,
it.
so I'm gonna reread the passage and I'm not gonna fuck it up this time.
Yeah, cool.
From Go Go Gormu 523. Ouch! Gormu said as he stubbed his toe. Gormy got a boo-boo. There we go. I read it correctly that time.
Wow.
So I actually didn't know until I read this passage that Gormu's nickname is Gormy. It's pretty interesting to me because usually a nickname kind of shortens the name, but this is really just replacing a U with a Y.
Some people call me Nikki. That's an extra syllable.
Yeah, Nikki. And that's even longer. That's true.
What do you think about this verse?
I just think this is it's very I don't know, it's very relatable, because I think when you think of a god, you think, oh yeah, a god could slam his toe in a door. He could, take a hammer and bash in his toe and wouldn't even feel any pain. Yeah. But Gormu isn't like that. Gormu feels pain just like us. When we smash our toes and go, youch! We can think, because that's what we all say when we stub our toes.
Yeah.
The next time that happens to you, you can think that, Gormu actually has gone through that same experience.
It's true.
Do you know the context of this? Like what came before? Oh. It's interesting that you gave me just this verse and didn't give me the context of what he's stubbing his toe on.
Well, funny enough, I'm actually... Sorry, I don't mean to self-promo. I wasn't even going to bring this up, but you actually said something about it. I'm the author of Go Go Gormu. Chapter 5. They gave me chapter 5. And so this was actually just a conversation that I sort of heard from the other room while I was having a Gormu dream. And he was in the other room and I sort of heard it haphazardly. Go Go Gormu is sort of like a collection of phrases that I hear Gormu sort of say.
Oh, okay.
It's like a proverbs of a sort, but there's not really a theme. It's just, and they're not really saying anything. It's just it's like fun quotables, I guess, right?
It's just like random quotes of things that happened to Gormu.
It's like a quote book. Yeah, it's a fun little quote book. I feel like it's a fun read. So if you guys are interested in picking up Go Go Gormu Chapter 5, it's not done yet. It's still in production. Same with all the other chapters in the whole book, honestly, because very new religion, by the way. Um, but I think it's a page turner, and I do leave a couple little cliffhangers in there, and I think sooner or later I'm gonna be doing a couple meet and greets and signing some books. So if you guys are interested, Go Go Gormu Chapter 5. Um, but I think it's a great verse. It's got a lot of character, and it's such a great wrap up for a sermon before we jump in, to some more important things.
Yeah, I actually, just to show this is another verse that you showed me from Gogo Gormu. Uh, Gogo Gormu 545. Gormu said as he suffered from constipation. So that's just another example of
Interesting.
the entire book is kind of just a lot of grunts and groans
Yeah,
and
yeah.
different things.
I honestly didn't even
Yeah.
remember. I didn't even remember that part of my thing. So like that's kind of cool that there's so much going on that I don't even have to like worry about. I don't even have to worry about coming up with a whole entire book. There's a little bit of stress when you're starting a religion to like write this big hefty book, and it's like, dude, we've been in production. Religion's been in production for like not even 2 months. Like, give us a break. Right now, it's
Yeah.
just sort of a collection of stuff we're trying to piece together. But writing a book is a lot harder than you'd think, and we're not even like the main people in charge. It's just like so much. You'd think there's so much writing that goes into it.
Well, yeah, I mean, for me, it's very easy because it's just taking the words directly from Gormu that he speaks to me. But I know that it's a little harder for you because he doesn't speak to you directly quite as much, so you're kind of just listening for grunts and groans that he makes. But I know he'll speak directly to you more moving forward,
Listen,
and then you can write better verses.
I went on a mission trip to the two most populated places in the country, and I spread the seed of Gormu, and I'm sitting there and sweating in my sleep trying to have a conversation with him. And then you're buying like boats and going to the lake with your friends, and you're having all these Gormu visions.
Oh,
and
back to the boat thing. We're back to the boat thing.
I'm just saying, it just seems bizarre. Like I like all my Gormu dreams, I don't even get to talk to him. Like I hear him from the other room, like stubbing his toe. It's kind of ridiculous, to be honest.
Well, maybe if you weren't so stingy with the company funds, then Gormo would think you're more chill and want to hang out with you more. Maybe Gormo thinks you're a bit of a tightwad, He's like, "Oh, Nick is always talking
Are you
about,
saying
we need
maybe,
to be
or is he
careful with
telling
them."
that to you? Is he saying that to you?
He hasn't said it directly. I'm not making any direct accusations. I'm just saying maybe if you chilled out a little bit and started, maybe come down to the lake with me and the guys, maybe then Gormu would start giving you some better visions. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, we'll talk about it later. We'll talk about the lake later. It's just that I have like a lot of paperwork and a lot of meetings with tax people and like I'm sorry, I don't mean to to bore people. It's just like nights have been really late at the church. A lot of knocking on the doors and a lot of ignoring that I have to do of agents trying to sort of throw me out. But luckily on Sunday there's like a
Yeah.
rule. There's like this weird like law loophole where like IRS agents can't come in the doors because it's open doors. It's religion. It's religion, So
That's what's good about having a religion.
it's good. It's good. Funny enough, I did just have I shot a video today, Brother Beard, and it was about it was about this Twitter account called Bad Medical Takes, and it was a Dennis Prager video where it was a quote from him where he basically said that like like incest isn't bad in he basically was trying to make a case that like secular morals are bad because there's no like rules to stop you from doing incest with your sister. So he was basically saying like in Christianity, like they have someone telling you not to do incest, and he's like, if you're not reproducing, secular morals think it's okay to have sex with your sister. It's just why you should be religious. but it just made it
Yeah,
sound
well,
like
Gormu
he
also doesn't like people to have sex with their
no,
sisters as
because he thinks
well.
it's weird. But also that's like why, in, secular morals, there is an argument against it because in secular morals it's just about like being a normal like it's just about being what you consider to be like a good person, I guess, right? It's your own morals. And most of the time those morals are in the same thing with Gormism is that incest is just weird. It's a weird thing to do. Um,
So that's what the only ethical argument you have to make is that it's weird. Well,
yeah,
Dennis Prager
yeah.
also
That's the only thing I have to say about it is that it's really weird.
Dennis Prager also at one point said that he thinks it's. Didn't he say it's like okay to pressure your wife into having sex with you?
I do
So
think
that's
I
what you get
remember
when you
that.
have Dennis Prager's morals. So yeah,
Yeah.
he's definitely the beacon of morality we should all be looking up to is Dennis Prager.
The quote says, "There's no secular argument against adult incest. Brother and sister want to make love? What's your argument? That they're going to produce mentally I can't say that word. Offspring? That's nonsense. It takes many generations of inbreeding to do that." Which is like such a weird thing to add on to the end. Oh, he's even like,
I
oh, if you
mean,
do have
you could make the argument that that's ableist, but also if just because it takes many generations doesn't he's
it
not
doesn't mean it's
denying that it
okay to
still
do it.
does happen.
Yeah. Like, oh,
He's
if you
just
want
like
to
that
have
takes
sex
a
with your
long
sister.
time.
Yeah, he's like, you'd have to have sex with your sister for multiple generations for it to be really bad. And it's like, okay, but then shouldn't you not do it? It's like, oh, like you shouldn't smoke cigarettes because it's bad. But like, if you do it, if you do it for like a couple years and then you stop,
Yeah. There's
and
no secular argument against cigarettes. Like smoking one cigarette is fine. It's only bad if you smoke it for years and get lung cancer.
yeah, it's like just
Great argument.
and it's like not even like even with cigarettes it's like you can smoke one and stop, but with this one it's like you have a kid and then it's out of your control what the next person does. It's not like you can just be
Yeah.
like you can just be like it's a one. Also, don't don't have sex with your sister. That's the main thing. Is just like stop. Like you're being weird if you do that. You
No,
are.
but this is a really good argument for why I should adopt Dennis's worldview. So thank you, Dennis. You've convinced me.
The only reason why he won't have sex with his sister is because
Yeah.
like the Bible tells him not to.
Or when people are like, how do atheists know not to murder people?
Yeah, I'm
Like,
like,
if you don't have God telling you not to murder people, what's so bad about murder?
dude, I've
It
heard that
seems
so
like
many
they're
times.
implying that if they didn't have
Yeah,
God telling them not to, that they would be murdering
yeah.
people.
And the amazing thing about religion is that as you sort of grow and decide what you believe and stuff, you can adopt certain religions, but like the thing that matters the most is like the moral beliefs that you hold within that religion. You can call yourself a Christian, but the spectrum of like what is considered subjectively a Christian and like the moral compass is so big that it like that practically means nothing besides the fact that you believe
Mm.
that Jesus is the Son of God. But morally calling yourself a Christian is very, very vague now. It really is just like your own interpretation.
There's a lot of Christians who would not agree with a lot of the things Dennis Prager says, and he gives a very bad view of what
Yeah.
I would consider like a moral Christian should be like. Like moral Christians should not be saying it's okay to pressure your
Yeah.
wife and starting this whole fucking university where you're just spreading like
Yeah.
racist and horrible ideas about how I don't know. Yeah, PragerU is absolutely I would say it's incredibly immoral.
Yeah. We got to start like a Gormu,
Gorm you.
Gormu, and we can kind of have PragerU. For people who don't know, like Dennis Prager founded this like right wing media conglomerate called PragerU, where they like put out videos that are, taught in like classrooms and for like it's basically like right wing like online learning or whatever. But we're gonna start a similar one called Gormu. and it's gonna be us doing like little videos about, you know, how Gormu would handle certain political real world things, you know? Like what does Gormu think about the like Israeli Palestinian conflict, right?
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
we
like
all want to know what Gormu
everyone's
has to say
wondering.
about that. Yeah, and we'll have the same blue background and orange text,
Yeah.
and
It's like super buttoned
people
up
have
and
been
glossy.
saying that this is the way. Yeah.
But this plays perfectly into what we wanted to continue talking about in our service. Some more real world things. A lot of religion has been in the news. You know, not to toot the Christianity horn. Sometimes we will be, you know, talking about other religions. We mean no beef. We have a lot of Christians in our life that we love. Of course, we would rather them be
Mhm.
Gormites, but you can't
But
win all
sometimes
those
we gotta toot
battles.
their horn. Sometimes we gotta take our lips up to them and give them a little toot.
Yeah, and I don't know exactly what that's supposed to mean, but lately lately someone of I guess what we wanted to talk about in general is like this rise of I don't know, like especially in this generation, the cross, there's been this weird like combination of like internet influencers coming to rise, and then like Christians being on social media, and then them kind of combining. And right now the pinnacle of that is Mr. Kanye West, who is kind of the most famous Christian right now, besides maybe like the Pope. You think the Pope's more famous than Kanye?
Pope and Kanye are basically the same. They're basically at the same level.
I wonder who's bigger on famous
Um,
birthdays. I bet Kanye is.
Most likely, yeah. I don't know how many people are looking up the Pope on famousbirthdays.com.
Is his name? Is it Pope
Do they even put the
Francis?
Pope on? Pope Francis,
Yeah,
yeah.
dude, he's number 2,276. He's not even that high.
Oh yeah,
Kanye,
get your numbers up,
Kanye's
Pope.
134. Dude, the Pope isn't even that.
Imagine if everything was just based on your standing on famous birthdays.
Dude, the Pope is not even the most famous 85-year-old. Morgan Freeman is.
Morgan Freeman is my Pope. Everything that he says is I take as
Well,
gospel.
my Pope is Gormu.
Um, okay, yes, obviously my Pope is Gormu. That was called a joke, Brother Green. I didn't actually mean it.
Yeah,
Um,
I definitely buy that. You know, I don't think you're committing any heresy at all. But anyways,
but yeah, my perspective is like if I was still a Christian, I would just feel like I don't know. I just feel like we've had such there's been such embarrassing people who are supposed to be the spokespeople of Christianity
yeah,
these days, and they are leading lives that are incredibly like unchrist-like.
yeah,
Um, because yeah, it puts Christians in this weird position where you're like, oh wow, Kanye West is this massive artist who
yeah,
has this, he's incredibly influential, has millions and millions of followers. Oh, he's spreading like that. He's making a album about Jesus,
yeah,
talking about how great Jesus is. Oh, look, he's spreading blatant anti-Semitism.
yeah.
When that has nothing to do with Christianity whatsoever. I just feel like, yes, like it feels like the biggest spokespeople of Christianity in the last like 5 years or so have been like Trump and Kanye, which are, I feel like, horrible spokespeople for the religion itself.
I
You
mean,
know?
yeah, it's kind of bizarre how like I haven't really seen a leader in Christianity that like feels like it's a real voice for a lot of people who call themselves Christians but feel uncomfortable with like the current stance of it. Because it's this weird thing where it's
Mhm.
like, I mean, it's in the name, like when you're a Christian, like you're a Christ follower. But at the same
Yeah.
time, it's like every person who leaves the religion, and that like it ties back to these negative things that a lot of people who are under that religion don't agree with. And so it's like this weird label that is put on, and specifically right now with like the Kanye stuff, it's like a lot of this new stuff doesn't feel like he's even tying it back to religion as much as it's just like he's trying to get the most people to like talk about him as he can. But I don't even know. Like the we gotta.
It's hard with Kanye to figure out if the things he's saying are genuine or if he is just trying to stir up as much
Yeah,
controversy as possible, or if he's just in like a really bad mental state, so the things that he's saying aren't really what he actually believes. He's just saying it because he's extremely like manic right now. And I think it's
yeah,
probably like a mix of the three. I do think Kanye seems to be relatively genuine. He wouldn't be someone who I would accuse of like lying for the most part. Now, someone like Candace Owens, I definitely think that Candace Owens lies and
yeah.
grifts to just make money. But Kanye seems genuine, which makes it even more scary that he's been genuinely falling down like anti-Semitic conspiracy theory rabbit holes. You
Yeah.
know?
I mean, the way I put it and like the way I said it in my video is that like people like we can always talk about like which parts of it are like him being manic and like him surrounding himself with people who aren't giving him the support he needs and like what or whether or not he really believes in that things. But at the end of the day, none of that shit really matters because it's like whatever he's saying it, and it's like it's affecting people who are following him. You can't go around and start saying DEFCON 3 to Jewish people. Like that's not
No.
allowed. That's not cool. Like that's that's like on the list of things where it's like cool your jets, bro. Like DEFCON 3 is too far. Relax. Uh
Yeah, I mean, I would say any anti-Semitism is too far, but that's like way past.
DEFCON 3, it's like dude, what?
It's fucking insane.
And that's just
I feel like
the anti-Semitic part of it. And then you have the White Lives Matter stuff.
uh-huh. I feel like it's very important to always keep in mind the difference between explaining something and justifying
Yeah.
something, because you can analyze a situation and you can say, okay, his mental state might be
Yeah.
explaining this. Him being falling prey to conspiracy theories might explain
Yes,
this.
definitely.
But that doesn't justify it,
Yeah.
because it's still your responsibility to not fall for hateful conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
It's still your responsibility to use your platform to not spread violent anti-Semitism, especially because of, I mean, we all know that the more anti-Semitism that gets spread in society, the more that directly leads to hate crimes against Jewish people.
Yeah.
So, and I feel like a lot of these fans of Kanye who are like, "Oh, but I love this album and this album, they're the best." They definitely go into more of the how can we justify this rather than we need to
Mm.
just say this is unacceptable and then we can analyze what are the explanations. You know, I feel like
Yeah.
that's the very important distinction there.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing because I definitely don't think there could ever be any justification for it. Like for me, the bottom line is that like especially with the White Lives Matter. I mean, for all of it, like the reason he's saying it is because he can and because he want. Like he even said the White Lives Matter thing. He's like, oh, it's because people said like this would happen if I followed Trump and this and that. But he is putting that like that priority and that part of him like caring about his like ego and trying to be at the forefront of the conversation. He's putting that above like the protection and safety and everything of his own daughters, which is like and then going around and pretending to care about them when like the both of the both of the racist things that he did this week are like not things that could be supporting or helping his family in any way. It only goes to hurt his daughters and embarrass them more in front of the entire world. Um
For
and
me, the White Lives Matter thing, it just feels incredibly like boring and pathetic.
yeah,
It's not that it like triggers me. It's just like we all know what you're doing. We all
yeah,
know you're saying white lives matter because you're trying to own the libs because you think that we're all going to get triggered if you say white lives matter, and
yeah,
that it's some sort of big statement about how, oh, the liberals hate white people and love black people and we should love everyone. It's like, no, the people on the left do not actually fucking hate white people. You're an idiot. This is an
yeah.
extremely boring political statement you're making right now.
It's
It's
so
not
lame.
some like it's not some like level 4 woke
Yeah.
like, wow, this is so galaxy brained of Kanye. It's like, no, it's just incredibly stupid and boring, and all that this is doing is just enabling white supremacists, you know.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like there's nothing to say about it. There's no like conversation to be had. Like it's
No.
just like a fucking lame like pet like stupid thing that only goes to like hurt more people and like literally goes to end up causing more harm to like his daughters because of their own skin color, which is like
Yeah.
so unforgivable and like is tough. And like there and I do hear like a lot of stories from people, and I think of the same thing. Like I'm someone who has like like listens to Kanye's music and has had like these conversations over the years, and I'm not
Mhm.
like, you know, I am not like someone whose life has been like tied to him, but I do understand and like am a fan of the history of like what he's done for music and for hip hop culture and how it's like affected things. And I do like,
Yeah, I would never deny that he has done some like
yeah.
good things for the black community, and like that he's obviously had a massive influence on hip hop as a genre, but like I feel like you have to kind of separate that from his current actions,
And
you know?
yeah, he just he like takes no like I don't know how to explain it. Like it's really sad because I see a lot of stories from people who like and know people in my life who grew up listening to his music, and like his like the music he's made is a soundtrack to like millions of people's lives. Like it is like
Mhm.
done things to them that will like it has changed people's lives and like changed the way that they like contextualize like the way they look at art and everything in their life. And that like that's like a legitimate effect that he has on a lot of people who are like big fans of him. And then for him to have to
Yeah,
put
I feel
all
like
these
it's
people through like this bullshit that like now it's like they have this confusing thing of like, oh, this means so much to me, but now it's like under this like weird guy, like this weird thing now because the artist has done
I
these shitty things.
I see some people online. I feel like people can tend to be like, we're having this conversation about parasocial relationships, and I think it's a good conversation to have about how you
Yeah.
shouldn't get too parasocially involved with people. But I see it kind of going too far in a direction where people are being very like calloused towards the idea that
Yeah.
someone could have a very like parasocial, because the whole like one of the main reasons that musical artists become so popular is because they release something that someone connects with on an
Yeah.
emotional level. Like, you can have an artist that just releases pop songs that are fun to sing along to, but I feel like an artist like Kanye,
Yeah.
a lot of the reasons why people really connect with him is because they've connected with his music on an emotional level.
Yeah.
And connecting with someone's music on an emotional level is kind of like developing a parasocial relationship with them to a
Yeah.
certain extent. So I feel like it's a bit callous and a bit like condescending to be like, "Oh, you have a connection to
Yeah.
Kanye, like grow up, get over it." It's like, yeah, people do
Mm-hmm.
create bonds with like artists that they care about if they feel like the art really connects with them. But I do think it is important to have that conversation to
Mm-hmm.
not allow yourself to become so connected to an artist that you then make excuses
Yeah.
for their abusive behavior, you know?
Yeah, I like absolutely agree with that. I think there has been like this weird like shift against it because and I do think it's different, especially when it comes to something like music that is so like emotionally and like personally driven with people. Like music, I feel like almost like probably more than anything else is like this way that people can emotionally like attach to something like nothing else, because there's not a lot of things where it's like you're listening to this thing while you're going to work, while you're working out, while you're
Hmm.
at home, this and that, and like it becomes this like part of your life that, you know, I've had artists of mine that have literally been like my favorite artist. Like a few years ago I had this artist that was like my favorite artist of all time. Like I listened to all their music, like saw them live multiple times, and then learned from a friend that like they had a mutual friend, something horrible happened with one of the members of the group, and it was just like this switch where it was like
This
I never could listen to them again the same way, and I never did listen to them again
This
because I
also
was like,
kind of happened with me with Rex Orange County this last week. Did you hear
yes,
about that?
yeah,
Like Rex
which
Orange
all
County had allegations. Yeah,
same
I
thing.
was a pretty big Rex Orange County fan as well. I really liked his music.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. It depends on the artist. Like if it's someone who is smaller, like the band I liked a couple of years ago, like, and it feels more personal. Like even the Rex thing, it's so like it's so current, and he's so like in the moment that like when something like that happens, I just like and this is like a personal thing. I don't like really blame people for being for wanting to listen to music that means a lot to them if something bad happened. For me, it's like it's a
Mm-hmm.
personal decision for you, and I'm not gonna like judge someone for having an emotional connection that's hard for them to whatever to like to break or whatever. But it depends on the artist for me. For someone like Kanye, it's like there's so much history there and so much that happened in the past that it's like there's such a disconnect for me from his from what he used to do and how many people were involved with his music in the past versus now. But for people that are like more
Yeah.
current, it's like that switch just kind of flips and I like cannot enjoy their music anymore. Kind of like Rex Orange County. It's like I can't go back to listening to him.
Mm-hmm. When it comes to the whole conversation of like separating the art from the artist, I wouldn't. I don't know if I would morally condemn someone who still listens to music from like an artist that has turned out to be a bad person, but I definitely would get into like condemning them if they were like, I don't know,
Yeah.
still financially supporting them, or definitely if they're like going into comment sections trying to come up with every possible
Yeah.
excuse, like, no, Kanye, when he said death con to Jewish people, that it was actually a meta satirical
Yeah.
commentary on the state of the world. It's like, no, it isn't. Like, it's
Yeah.
clearly he's being just anti-Semitic, you know.
Yeah, and I don't know. It really just like depends on the artist and the context of everything. Like generally, it just it depends on what you consider to be like for me this stuff with Kanye is definitely like a big hit personally to like how I feel about listening to his music. So it's always like something to think about. Um,
Yeah,
but when people listen to
I
Chris,
think it
for
can
people,
definitely it can definitely color the art as well, because if you find out that they were like, for example, Rex Orange County has a lot of songs about like, I don't know, being open with your emotions
yeah,
or like how much he loves women and stuff, and then when you're like, oh, you were actually like allegedly being abusive behind the scenes,
yeah,
that can paint the entire song like,
yeah,
now this doesn't feel like a genuine love ballad, it feels like a gaslighting manipulation, like you're just telling a woman how much you love them so that you can like end up hurting them, you know. It
yeah.
definitely,
That's another thing that I feel like,
it's kind of like the Ned with the Try Guys thing. When you go back and watch all his
yeah,
stuff talking about how much he loves his wife, now it doesn't feel like this genuine guy who's like, oh, it's so sweet how much he loves his wife.
yeah,
Now it feels like he's projecting by talking about how much he loves his wife to hide the
yeah.
fact that he actually doesn't.
And I think this is a really interesting, another really interesting thing when you compare it from like one thing to another. And this obviously isn't like a justification for Kanye. You everyone, if people watch my video on him, you know my thoughts on him. I don't fuck with anything he said, obviously, but I feel like when you look at the past content of a person and see how it affected them, like Kanye has a very like interesting story that is very highly reflected in his music, and his music is seen as like a historical piece that like that shows the progression of this dude that basically like has always kind of been like this and is just like he's kind of slowly falling apart as he gets older and tries to figure out how to be relevant when he's got a family to take care of, and he's trying to figure out what to do next with like his music because he's not in the same position he was before. He's not living as exciting of a life because he's got a wife and kids or whatever. um
Hmm.
and so it's like
And I think it can be definitely interesting to analyze the ways that people who are not great people can end
yeah,
up spiraling to where they are. And you know, I feel like, yeah, it's hard to label someone as like, are they a good person or a bad person? At this point,
yeah,
I would say I would call definitely Kanye's actions would label him in like the bad person
I would
category in
at
my
this
head.
point too. Yeah,
But
I think he's crossed the
over the
threshold.
course of his life, he's clearly said some like insightful things, and you don't have to say that like now every single thing that he said that could have been a
Yeah,
valid thing
it's
to
like
say is
worthless.
like now completely invalid. Yeah. But I do think it is I do think it is important to have like a line in your head, and once someone crosses that, then you feel like, okay, you've crossed to the point where I'm like
Yeah,
just not going to support you, period, you know?
definitely.
And I think it can be difficult for each person to figure out where that line is for them.
Yeah, and that's like the more you're online at the end of the day, you start to understand like as I've been doing this job and I've gotten into like and seen a lot of online arguments, what it comes down to at the end of the day, and I feel like what you start to learn as you like grow up and stop having as much time for conversations with people that fighting people who basically believe the same shit as you, is that like every
Mhm.
single conversation ever is going to have nuance, and you're never going to agree with people who if we really wanted to get down to it, we have very similar political beliefs, and if you really wanted to try, you could find tiny little things that we disagree on, but you could say that about every single person. It just matters how much you care about those tiny little things versus the things that actually matter and that actually affect people. And you have to be okay with knowing that like you're not always going to have that that
I
specific thing.
I think I'm going to disagree with you when you say that everything is nuanced. I think there are some things that really aren't nuanced. I
No, I would
think
say yeah,
if
yeah.
like
When I
you
say
ask,
everything, I mean
yeah.
like these little things. But I
but
agree that it's like death con to
but
Jewish
I
people
think
is not nuanced.
yeah. Like, is it nuanced if saying DEFCON 3 is anti-Semitic? No, that's not nuanced. It's just anti-Semitic. But
Yeah, I
I
agree.
think issues
For the
kind of
record.
exist on a spec.
I
I think
agree for the
issues kind of
record that DEFCON 3 is not.
is not nuanced.
Go
But
ahead.
I think that issues kind of exist on a spectrum from very nuanced to not very
Yeah,
nuanced.
yeah.
And I think that when you have these online communities that fall into a lot of like leftist infighting, for example, you can have these issues that are on the very nuanced side of the
Yeah,
spectrum
yeah, yeah.
that people who are chronically online start treating like they are not at
Yeah,
all nuanced, and
exactly.
that if you take this nuanced thing, they're treating this very nuanced issue like it's a not nuanced issue,
Yeah.
and then it turns into just throwing all this hate at each other, when yeah, if you would take a step back, you'd realize no, actually, this issue is much more on the nuanced side. You're just
Yeah.
treating it like it's not nuanced because you're wanting to, I don't know, you're just in a very like hateful state of mind, you know, or a
Yeah.
very argumentative or very I don't know, elitist, where you think that you have the perfect perspective and everyone else is just a complete moron or whatever, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, my edit my edit to my statement is that the conversations that are you're usually having with like people around you, not like raging racists,
Yeah, yeah,
are
yeah.
going to be nuanced and try to focus on the things that like
I think I knew that that's what you meant.
yeah, you're
I
like
wasn't trying to accuse you of.
actually, Nick, I don't think that saying death con to Jewish people is nuanced. It's kind of weird that you think
You
that.
know, racism is kind of nuanced if you think about it. I mean,
No,
there
yeah.
are nuanced issues with race, but I do feel like sometimes you have to just take a hardline stance, like, that's just straight up bad, you know?
Yeah. I just got a notification on my Gormu watch that he wants us to get back on. He said we got too off topic and too serious, which is kind of weird, but
Ah,
it's
come on.
silly.
You have a Gormu watch that you can communicate with Gormu?
Well, no, it's a spray painted purple, like it was a Hello Kitty watch, and then he spray painted it purple, and it made my wrist is like I don't want to talk about it, okay? And don't go back in the episode and check if there's anything on my wrist. It's really high on my wrist. It's hard to see, okay? So don't go back and be like, he doesn't actually have something on his wrist. It's under here.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
somewhere
yeah.
up.
Yeah.
When I say
Uh-huh.
wrist, I mean like something up here, okay?
You meant forearm when you said
I meant
wrist.
forearm,
Yeah, we get it.
shoulder,
Yeah.
sort of like on the arm area on the torso.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We
Um,
all get it. We all understand.
But should we knock out a quick confesh for the people before we head on to the Patreon episode? Do you want to try to do a confesh?
Yeah, I think we can do a confession. I just want to say, I think this is something that we've talked about. I think we are gonna try to cover some more sort of
Yeah.
serious topics in the podcast, because we have fun talking about how much we love Gormu.
I love
Obviously,
Gormu.
but we freaking love Gormu, but we want to walk that line between being able to have a conversation about, our experiences with religious trauma, or our
Yeah.
experiences with different like religious concepts, or analyzing the way that religion is being weaponized to hurt people. And I feel like these are all interesting conversations to have. So just hopefully you'll all come along for the ride with us when
Yeah.
we just sort of explore what this podcast is going to become, and don't get there might be a bit of whiplash, like what the fuck is this podcast?
Why
But
did they
that's
suddenly
what
get
we're
so serious? Yeah, I mean, let us know what you think in the comments. Like, people seem to be very receptive toward the Gormu stuff. There are a couple of heretics who get a little annoyed that we talk a lot about the Gormu stuff, and
and
we
we
don't.
will always shame the heretics,
Yeah, shame, shame,
obviously.
shame. I'm not listening to them. It's just that I see a lot of people in the comments who appreciate that we are both people that came from religion and that we have things to say about it, and people who also have, religious trauma and experience with that. And so I like talking about that
Yeah,
kind
we
of
have
stuff.
we have very interesting lives coming from religion to atheism to Gormism. It's a
Yeah,
very
it has been a crazy trip.
crazy journey.
I always was like,
Yeah.
I don't know, like I don't think I'll ever know. Like I think I'm just gonna stay out of religion. And then next thing you know, you wake up and you're covered in sweat and piss and shit and cum, and you got a big guy
Mhm.
named Gormu telling you to join his religion. And hell, if I
It's
if I wasn't raring and ready to go from the moment I saw him.
sometimes you just gotta accept the truth. You just gotta see that big guy standing over you, and you're like, well, this is the truth now.
That's I mean, that's exactly what happened too. We both said it in unison. We go, well, this is the truth now.
This is the truth now. Yep. That's
Okay.
exactly what happened.
Who wants to read? We could like do little popcorn reading maybe this time if we want to just do one. We could sort of.
Ooh.
Yeah, you can. Okay, how about you do a little bit and then you can go popcorn Nick and then I'll go.
Yeah, we're
Sorry,
gonna treat this
Popcorn
like
Brother
8th grade
Green.
English class.
Yeah, just tell Popcorn Brother Green when you're ready to throw it to me.
All right. Okay. I feel like usually popcorn is so that a large group of people can.
Yeah,
But
I mean, what? Or if you want to throw it to someone in the audience, it's a small little popcorn, a small little bowl of popcorn with 2 little popcorn kernels in it.
have someone in the audience read it. Yeah.
We can't hear you. They're like yelling so loud, just reverb. Okay, go ahead. This one is called.
All right. This is a.
Go. You can say.
This is a confession that every episode we get confessions from people. If you want to email us your confessions, email covenantconfessions@gmail.com. We will forgive you of your sins as long as it's not something too heinous in the eyes of Gormu. So that is what we will be doing. This is a confession called "You Really Dug Yourself a Hole on This One." When I was in high school, I got in trouble, and my dad had to come up with a punishment for me. He ended up having me dig a hole 5 feet down and 5 feet across in the backyard, and then filling it back up to teach me work ethic, and also so that the ground would be even for our new shed.
Interesting.
Okay, we all see the real motivations here. He's just trying to build a fucking shed.
This is like a punishment from like the 1500s. Dig a hole
Yeah.
5 feet by 5 feet for my shed.
Go dig a hole, sonny, and then you'll learn what it means to be truly respectful.
Yeah.
At first, I was chill about the punishment since I knew it was kind of earned. But once I got to the bottom of the hole, things started falling apart.
What?
Yeah, this tends to happen to me whenever I get to a bottom of a hole. Things really start falling apart.
Yeah, I'm always digging massive holes in my backyard and then discovering that something is falling apart the moment I get to the bottom of it, I guess.
I wasn't talking about holes in the backyard. I will popcorn it to Nick.
Yes.
Miss Brother Green.
Yes,
Brother
yes.
Green. I'm so
Oh,
sorry.
hell yeah. I mean, sorry. Go.
Take it, Brother Green.
Okay. Basically, I asked him if I could place a time capsule at the bottom of the hole, and he said yes. So I filled up a plastic box and started burying it. He was also in the backyard working on another project, and we were talking and goofing around until he made an offhand comment about the event that led to my punishment, and it pissed me off bad. Wait, why do we not even know what the event was? I mean, maybe,
I guess they didn't want to share what the event was. That's already pretty funny that that seems kind of nice of the dad to be like, I know that you're doing a punishment, but I'll let you fucking bury a time capsule right now. Like, if I were punishing my child, I'd be like, this is not the time for time capsules. This
Yeah.
is the time for
It's time for digging.
for punishment.
A massive hole in the
This is-
backyard.
This is dig time.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh, Can I
Yeah.
you popcorn it back?
Yeah. Popcorn, Brother Beard.
Uh, I stormed off into the house and cried and pouted for a while. And then, as I calmed down, I went to his bookshelf and grabbed the last book I had seen him reading. I waited for him to come back inside. Then I went back to the hole, dug up the box, put the book inside, and filled up the hole.
Wait.
My.
So did they already fill up the hole with the 5-foot hole, or did you think they just like lightly? Was the hole dug?
I think they dug the hole, but they hadn't refilled it. So they put his book that he was reading inside the time capsule. My dad never got to finish his book, and it clearly upset him that it had gone missing. I don't think he ever suspected me, but I've never been able to walk into that shed without feeling an insane amount of guilt and embarrassment at my immaturity. Also, why are you putting a time capsule where a shed is being built on top of it? You're never going to get the time capsule back out. The whole idea of a time capsule is that you dig it up after a while.
It's like a 5-foot hole. Wait, so do you think they put it in the bottom of the 5-foot? It says at the bottom of the hole. It's 5 feet deep. But then it says they started burying it, so maybe it wasn't done. It wasn't done being fully buried. And then that night, as lightning was struck down and the rain was falling, they like walked out there with one single book that probably cost $15.
Shovel in one hand, book in the other.
Like a little raincoat on and this like evil look, and they're like digging it up and laughing. And the dad is just like, oh, it sucks, and goes on Amazon and buys another one.
Yeah. I mean, this definitely shows that you didn't learn your lesson from the digging.
That's
because
true,
while you were being punished, you did another bad thing.
Hopefully the event that led to the punishment isn't this person burying one of their dad's books.
Their dad's
then they
books.
definitely did not learn their
They're
lesson.
a serial book barrier.
Yeah, but besides that, then maybe they learned the lesson, but they also don't know, they obviously have not learned the lesson to not grab your dad's books and bury them, which I feel like there's many worse things you could have done than bury a book that's easily replaceable. I feel like if it was something that was a little more like personal to him rather than a book he was just like currently reading, then I would think it's more. I mean,
it's still not great, but it's not the worst thing in the world.
It's definitely forgivable with the it says at the bottom they felt an insane amount of guilt and embarrassment at their immaturity. Which
so they're at least feeling guilty about it. They aren't some sort of Machiavellian, they're not like, this was the greatest trick I ever pulled.
They never would have seen it.
So if you want to be forgiven, I'm going to say you have to go into your backyard and dig a little hole and don't put any books in it.
Chores? It's just we're forgiving them.
They have to, because it's not just about you're forgiven. It's about you have to prove that you can dig a hole without putting books in it. Because maybe this person has like a chronic condition where anytime they dig a hole, they're like, I gotta find a book. I gotta find a book.
I guess we're trying to cure the sin, right?
But yes, we're trying to cure, because if we just say you're forgiven, they'll be like, oh, thank God I'm forgiven. And then the next day they're going to go out, dig a hole, throw some books in it. And we don't want that.
But they already have all this guilt and embarrassment. I don't know why they do something that makes them feel guilty and embarrassed. But I guess if they
I do things that make you feel guilty and embarrassed all the time, Brother Green.
Yeah, well, okay. So go in your backyard or just find any patch of dirt, okay? Any patch of dirt.
Yeah.
Just dig a small hole.
Any patch of dirt will do.
And then dig a small hole and then put it back.
Don't put a book in it.
Don't sit there. Don't put a book in it. Maybe walk into your house.
Don't put a book in it.
Maybe walk outside with the book if you're feeling risky, and then walk back inside.
No, now you're just having them to be extra tempted.
No, it's called breaking. It's like tempting them, so then they
like exposure therapy.
Yes, exactly. Walk outside with the book. Put it in the hole.
Put it in the hole. Take it back out before you fill the hole.
The shovel, pick up a whole shovel full of dirt.
No.
Hold it over. And then throw the dirt over to the other side of the hole. Grab the book. Put it inside. Come back outside. refill the hole, and then you're done.
See, even picturing this is making me being like, oh shit, I kind of want to go put a book in a hole.
It sounds fun, especially if it was raining and there's a lightning storm and you had like it was very intense and like cinematic, and you were mad at your dad too. Like if you're,
It does feel much more aesthetic, yes.
yeah. So I think why don't you deal the verdict for this one?
All right, my verdict is if you can dig a hole without putting a book in, then you are
Forgiven.
forgiven.
Wow. I know that was a short confession today, everybody, but obviously we had, some awesome things to talk about. So let us know what you thought. If you want us to go back to the confessions, shut your trap. Don't tell us. I don't want to know. Okay? But if you loved everything we did,
We don't want to hear
praise us.
We don't want to hear your feedback unless it's positive, because we have very fragile little egos, and we need to only hear positive feedback.
Yeah, please don't make any comments about my hair today. I didn't have a chance to take a shower before the service today. I know that might be a little alarming to some of you guys, but I had to choose between dinner and a shower the time that I had, and of course I've got Popeyes in my belly now. So let's get on with the rest of the service. And
Gonna close out in prayer.
yeah, before we close out in prayer, please remember that right after this, we're going to be doing a couple more confessions in the post service over at patreon.com/FC podcast. Make sure you subscribe down below. It takes 2 seconds, and all of our socials are down below for you to check out and support the podcast. Also, you should go down in the comments. We're going to be interacting with people in the comments. I love seeing fellowship. Fellowship is a big pillar of our religion. So down in the comments below, make sure you start talking about your favorite part of the service. Leave little timestamps to funny parts. Maybe like, haha, like when Brother Green like looked at the camera, it was so cute. Like at this part, timestamp 45.
Or
32.
timestamp, like Brother Green's hair looked really bad at this point, really greasy. This is the most greasy part.
It really does look. I keep looking at like the full screen, and I'm like, man, this is gonna be a rough thumbnail. Maybe I have to grab one of the thumbnails from an earlier week. But
No, your hair looks fine, Brother Green. No one would have even noticed.
thank you. Unfortunately, the church barber didn't show up because we kind of ran out of the budget. Someone bought a boat. But let's get on to the closing prayer. With that, Brother Beard, why don't you tell the people what they need to know before they can get out of here. It's been an extra long service today. Thank you guys for hanging around and praising Gormu with us.
We will see you next week. Hopefully you enjoy us going off on these more serious sort of conversations, because we enjoy doing that. We love talking about serious shit sometimes. It's not all...
We're not just comedy.
Life isn't all about fun and giggles and going on boats. So, all right, everyone, open your eyes for prayer. Dear Gormu, thank you for bringing us together today to have an amazing sermon. I just wanted to thank you for giving us all an ethical justification for why we shouldn't do incest. Because, without you in our lives, we would all be looking at our sisters and brothers and cousins and fathers and mothers, and we'd be thinking, damn, we have no ethical justification to not have sex with them. But thankfully, we have you, Gormu, in our lives, who gives us ethical justifications not to do that, because you say you think that's weird as hell. So I just wanted to thank you for that this week, and I just hope that throughout this week, everyone keeps getting filled with your seed, and everyone keeps remembering to care more about your body than Dream's freaking cracker face.
Wow. Yeah.
Amen.
Praise be. Woo.
Praise be.
That was good. I did try out what you said last week, and I tried.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear it.
And I feel like I'm getting a little bit better. Tears are still shedding, but every week I feel like Gormu is spiking me in the chest with his seed and keeping my eyes open.
That's amazing.
Anyways, thank you guys for coming to this service, and we really appreciate it. This has been the 5th service and the 5th episode of the Fellowship Covenant podcast. We're excited to see you next Sunday morning for another very special episode. Praise be.
Praise be.